The world number one stood completely frozen at the net. Not because she had lost. Aryna Sabalenka had suffered defeats before, even champions fall, but this felt different, because the 20-year-old standing across from her had just done something the tennis world would never forget. And the shocking part wasn't the victory. It was what happened after it. The crowd inside Rome's Foro Italico had already exploded into chaos. Philippine flags were waving wildly through the stands. Fans screamed Alex Eala's name so loudly that the sound echoed across the historic arena like thunder. Nobody expected this. Nobody believed it could happen. The world number one, the defending champion, the most feared player in women's tennis, had just been beaten in straight sets by a young Filipina ranked outside the top 30. And yet, moments later, thousands of people inside the stadium would be wiping tears from their eyes. Because Alex Eala wasn't finished making history. Rome, Italy, May 11, 2026. The Italian Open semi-final was supposed to be another routine step toward a title for Aryna Sabalenka. Analysts predicted domination. Tennis experts expected a quick match. The betting odds were brutally one-sided. Sabalenka had already conquered the season. She had won Madrid again. She had completed the Sunshine Double earlier in the year. Her power overwhelmed opponents before matches even began. She looked untouchable. Then Alex Eala walked onto the court. At just 20 years old, the Filipina star had already become one of the most talked-about young players in tennis, but few believed she was truly ready for this stage. Yes, she had talent. Yes, she had potential. But against Sabalenka, on clay, in a WTA 1000 semi-final, most people believed this was where the dream ended. What they didn't understand was how much Eala had already survived just to reach this moment. Weeks earlier, she had suffered painful losses in Stuttgart and Madrid. Critics questioned whether her aggressive style could ever work consistently on clay. Her ranking dropped. The confidence around her disappeared. But inside her own mind, something never changed. Belief. While the tennis world doubted her, Alex Eala kept imagining moments exactly like this one. And now, standing under the bright lights of Rome, she looked completely fearless. From the very first game, something felt wrong for Sabalenka. Or maybe something felt right for Eala. The Filipina attacked early. Her ground strokes landed deep near the baseline with stunning precision. Her movement looked sharp, calm, controlled. Every rally carried confidence. Then came the first shock. Eala broke Sabalenka's serve. The crowd erupted instantly. But when she broke again to take a 5-2 lead, the atmosphere inside the Foro Italico transformed completely. Fans rose to their feet. Philippine flags waved everywhere. Even neutral spectators could feel history building in front of them. Sabalenka tried to respond like champions do. She fought back hard. She saved set points. She increased the pace. She pushed Eala deeper behind the baseline and forced errors. Slowly, momentum began shifting back toward the world number one. At 5-4, the pressure became suffocating. This was usually the moment young players collapsed against Sabalenka. But Alex Eala refused to break. She served with courage, she attacked without hesitation, and moments later she sealed the opening set 6-4. The stadium exploded. Sabalenka walked to her chair, shaking her head in frustration. For the first time all tournament, the defending champion looked vulnerable. Still, nobody truly believed she would lose. Because champions respond. And Sabalenka was the best player in the world for a reason. She came out firing in the second set, immediately breaking Eala's serve. She roared toward her player box with pure intensity as the crowd suddenly fell silent. Order had been restored. At least that's what everyone thought. Then Alex Eala did something unbelievable. She broke back instantly. No panic. No fear. No hesitation. Point after point, game after game, the tension inside the stadium became unbearable. Every rally felt heavier than the last. Every shot sounded louder. And slowly, people started realizing they were watching something special. Not just an upset. A transformation. Alex Eala was no longer playing like an underdog. She was playing like she belonged among the elite. At 5-4, Eala stepped to the baseline to serve for the biggest win of her life. The entire stadium stood. 10,000 people holding their breath. Sabalenka stared forward with the cold focus of a champion refusing to surrender. Eala bounced the ball slowly. Once, twice, 3 times. Then she looked toward the crowd. Her mother, Riza, sat in the stands crying uncontrollably. That single image nearly broke her composure. But not completely. Because this moment had lived inside her mind for years. Long before Rome's. Long before the rankings. Long before the spotlight. She had imagined moments like this alone during practices, during losses, during painful nights when nobody believed she could become one of the best in the world. Now it was real. Her first serve landed perfectly in the corner. 15-love. The second came even bigger. 30-love. The crowd erupted with every point. But Sabalenka refused to disappear. The world number 1 fought back immediately, winning the next 2 points with brutal power. Suddenly it was 30-all. The pressure returned instantly. One mistake could change everything. Eala paused at the baseline again. The noise disappeared from her mind. Only belief remained. She tossed the ball high into the Roman sky and fired another fearless serve down the middle. Sabalenka barely got it back. Eala attacked instantly. One forehand. One opening. One final swing. The ball exploded across the court untouched. Match point. The stadium held its breath. Sabalenka walked slowly toward the baseline, expression unreadable. Champions never believe they're finished. But Alex Eala looked ready. She served wide. Sabalenka's return floated short. And in one perfect motion, Eala stepped forward and crushed a forehand into open space. Game. Set. Match. Alex Eala. The Foro Italico erupted into absolute madness. Eala dropped her racket instantly and covered her face with both hands as tears poured down her cheeks. Everything she had carried for months, the criticism, the pressure, the doubt, exploded out of her all at once. Across the net, Sabalenka stood silently. Then she walked forward. "You deserved this," the world number 1 whispered. Eala could barely speak through tears. "Thank you." The two embraced at the net, but it didn't feel like a normal post-match handshake. It felt personal, emotional, genuine. And somehow, the most unforgettable moment still hadn't happened yet. As Sabalenka turned to leave the court, Alex suddenly called her back. The crowd slowly quieted. Cameras zoomed in immediately. Something unusual was happening. Eala reached into her bag and pulled out the semi-final plaque awarded to the winner. Then she held it toward Sabalenka. "I want you to have this," she said softly. The world number 1 looked completely stunned. "What? No," Sabalenka replied immediately. "You earned it." But Eala shook her head. "This victory already gave me everything I needed," she said. "You've been the standard for all of us. You inspired this generation. I wouldn't be here without players like you." Silence covered the stadium. Even the commentators stopped talking. For the first time all night, Aryna Sabalenka looked emotional. Her eyes filled with tears. "You're special," she whispered. Then she hugged Eala again, longer this time, as the crowd inside the Foro Italico erupted louder than ever before. Not for the victory. For the humanity. Within minutes, videos of the moment spread across social media worldwide. Millions watched the emotional exchange over and over again. Fans called it one of the greatest displays of sportsmanship tennis had ever seen. Even rival fan bases united around the moment. Because for a few minutes in Rome, tennis stopped feeling like competition. It felt human. Later that night, Sabalenka posted a photo holding the plaque. Her caption read, "I came to Rome chasing another trophy. I leave with something more valuable. Respect, thank you, Alex." The post instantly went viral. And somehow, Alex Eala still wasn't finished writing history. 2 days later, she returned to the same stadium for the Italian Open final against Coco Gauff. Most experts believed the emotional semi-final victory would drain her energy. But they underestimated what confidence can do to a player. Eala entered the final transformed. She moved differently, played differently, believed differently. The first set became a battle of nerve and precision. Gauff fought hard, matching Eala shot for shot through brutal rallies. But at 4-4, the Filipina delivered a stunning forehand winner to break serve. The crowd exploded again. 1 game later, she closed the set 6-4. Now the title was within reach. The second set felt almost surreal. Every shot from Eala carried confidence. Every movement looked calm under pressure. She wasn't surviving anymore. She was controlling the biggest match of her life. When she broke early for a 4-1 lead, the entire stadium sensed history. And moments later it happened. One final forehand landed deep in the corner. Coco Gauff couldn't reach it. Game. Set. Championship. Alex Eala collapsed onto the clay in tears as the scoreboard confirmed the impossible. The 20-year-old Filipina had become Italian Open champion. Her mother rushed from the stands crying uncontrollably. Coaches embraced each other near the court. Philippine flags filled every corner of the stadium. And somewhere inside the crowd, Aryna Sabalenka stood applauding. She had stayed in Rome to watch the final. Not out of obligation, out of respect. When Eala lifted the trophy, she glanced toward Sabalenka in the stands and raised it slightly in her direction. A quiet gesture. Champion to champion. No words were needed. Because sometimes the greatest moments in sports are not about domination. Not about trophies. Not even about victory itself. Sometimes they're about respect. And in Rome, Alex Eala didn't just win a title. She won the heart of the tennis world.